Welcome, my friends and enemies. Glad you are here. I am joined once again with the unbearable Matt.
From the dark side.
We just can't stand the guy. But
From the Lord of Shadows.
he's unbearable.
Really
Hellron's emissary.
from the pits of shadows.
Dude, I'm totally the unbearable from Hellron's emissary. Yeah, totally.
Hellron, Lord Hellron.
If you ever get tired of him, just bring in Cadsway and he'll flee in terror. but yes, we have a bunch of random news to cover. I don't know why I'm throwing my arms around. I guess it's the Italian.
Yes.
So we speak with our hands, not with our mouths. Anyway,
you ever take someone's head off by accident? Like you're talking and someone's walking by and you
just if I told you, I'd have to kill you.
No, I've done it before. Talking in a corridor, I'm talking Italian, and someone didn't see it, and I
slap. It's called the rowboat effect. You're just looks like you're rowing your oars. But anyway, we've got 8 articles to go over, and hopefully something is particularly interesting or intriguing. I find them to be interesting to some extent, at least, or at least off-putting at the very minimal. But yeah, so we'll just, I guess, jump into it since we've got a time.
Let's get on.
Yeah. All right. So first one. Woo. Oh, also new production system. Yay. I don't suck as bad. Hopefully. But yeah, we have that Park Place, Dragon Age, the Veil Guard, the new one that looks terrible. Lead writer confirms protagonists will not be able to use blood magic. It's not the road we want the hero to walk right now. Because apparently blood magic is evil, which I find a little strange because blood magic is the same as every other magic that does harm to somebody. If anything, blood magic's better because blood magic can keep you alive as you siphon someone else's life, and you're already intent on killing them anyway. Doesn't make any sense to me, but I also main Necromancer in most games I play.
I read a version of this article on some site, and my understanding of it is basically this is a bunch of safe space morons. That's why they're limiting this. So
yes, so that's the screenshot from the game, and it looks atrocious, but that's a different story. All right, so the Veil Guard lead writer Patrick Weeks. He's definitely weak. Confirmed that the player characters will not be able to use blood magic going forward, which was, I believe, an option prior. It's been so long since I played Dragon Age. But he confirmed it, won't be able to use it in a series of posts on social media website Blue Sky. And a user asked, "Hi, silly hypothetical DA franchise. Are player specs like Shapeshifter, Bard, Blood Magic unlikely to return to the series? I know they're not in the new game, but I also know they're probably too resource intensive anyway. Zither, the Magic Bard, and DAI was cool. Dragon Age Inquisition, and I don't even know it. IHC Bard Hawk. Thank you. Or I guess he likes it a lot. I can't understand the speak. Oh, hey, Landfear the kitty has made her appearance. Hi, sister. I know. But he's like, never say never. Blood magic is unlikely because we've shifted it from a power boost to really being the key to a lot of nasty stuff we aren't interested in heroes doing. The other stuff needs to do the right game. Now, this is one of those things that constantly annoys me about the morality system and a lot of things. Like when I play in D&D, I'm very literalistic, I guess. Realistic. Maybe literalistic too. Where I want to play a character that is a character. It's not me. It's not my personal preferences. It's not who I am as a real person. It's an escapist thing. So if I'm a really nice person in real life, which I am, but if I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons, I want my character to be something else. So I'll play a thief who steals. I don't steal in real life. I buy stuff, obviously.
Oh, that's normal. That's normal. That's not the safe space.
No, that's not normal. That's very much not normal in D&D. Most people who play D&D want to be the goody two shoes guys all the time. They don't want to do anything.
Right? I just loaded up World of Warcraft today, and a thing popped up that I had to agree to a social contract to continue playing. So I just scrolled through and hit OK because I don't socialize in the game other than with the couple people in my guild anymore. So I don't care about
and most people will just do that in Discord with their guild anyway, so they don't even care.
They basically have driven like social contact out of the game because of, and then I've seen people complain, why is no one talking chat anymore? Because no one wants to deal with your safe space woke nonsense.
And nobody wants to get banned from the game because of talking to people in the world. But my point is that like, when you play Dungeons and Dragons, you're supposed to be able to kind of do anything. You can be an evil character in a good party, or a good character in an evil party, because your reasons for fighting for whatever it is you're fighting for, or your story, is what brings you together. The GM or the DM can make it work for you, and you can still do things without having to be completely goody two shoes all the time, which is all people want to play in D&D, and it drives me nuts. I'm like, just play real people. Real people aren't always goody two shoes. That's just not how real life works. People make mistakes.
The campaign depends on the dungeon master in the group. If you want to play a bad guy character, you find a bad guy group. If you want to play, a roguish, you just got to find the right DM and the right group of people to play the right type of game.
I apparently don't find those people because they're not available where I'm at. But my point is that being able to use blood magic is not inherently evil. If you use it evilly, like if you just go around sucking the life out of people left and right and absorbing their souls or whatever, then sure, it's bad because you're doing a bad thing with it. But if you're doing it, like, let's say this orphanage is getting attacked and the goblins are surrounding it with firewood, and they're going to light the place up and burn everything inside and eat the burned corpse of children and orphans and stuff. Well, you can use blood magic to kill the goblins. That's not evil. That's good. Even if you are an evil character, it's a good thing you're doing.
Like, it's just overplayed. You got to
cool. That's it.
These people don't understand that. I mean, there's a sane, rational limit to being immoral in a game, like certain dark sexual practices, for example, or whatever. But for the most part, if you're in a game and you kill a billion orcs or whatever, or a billion, like if you do some horrible thing in the game, it's a game. You're not doing it to actually think, I'm going to take that experience and go genocide a whole nation or whatever. No one does that shit in real life. It's a video game.
Murder hobo games do, but those games usually don't last very long because they're not very fun.
Murder hobo players don't go murder hobo in real life.
Yeah. But the thing is that if you know, it's like it's a one shot and you're like, can we do a murder hobo one shot? Because it'd just be fun to do that. And like, oh, sure. Like everybody's on the same page. They know what they signed up for, but you don't murder hobo when everybody wants a serious campaign. Like, because it ruins the fun.
They had a whole campaign world after this where pretty much even the good people were evil. So,
like, but that's the thing is like, I would love a campaign where we could be like good people or whatever, but then something happens and you just like, you get dark. And when you get dark, you're like, I'm going to go murder these guys. Like they did something, like they took something from me and now I just have no remorse for them and whatever. And you just go in and you just burn their city to the ground because it's a repercussion of what they did. They were acting or behaving as good people. You helped them out. They backstabbed you, left you for dead or something. And then you come back with a passion and just burn the place to the ground. That could be an interesting campaign or an interesting turn of events, but people aren't interested in that because that's not what the good guys would do. And it's like,
but that's not what you're missing it. Okay, these people, these woke safe spacers, they're not taking away to take away bad guy play. They're taking away because some people it violates their safe space. So
they're doing it because it makes heroes look evil and we can only be good guys, kind of a thing.
But like it's so okay. I'm trying to narrow this in. They're doing it yet in a meta objective sense, yet makes heroes look evil, but not because of the idea of it making heroes look evil. It's because these woke people find it uncomfortable that heroes could do that. So because of this one small group of woke people being uncomfortable with heroes doing that, everyone loses it.
Well, like for here, it says another user commented, this is interesting because that means that Blood Mage Warden and or Hawk are really, really subdued blood mages. And that Solus was both right and wrong on it being not inherently evil and just a tool. And then Weeks replies, I think it can be ethically neutral if you use your own blood. But after seeing it used as a required part of mind control and demon binding and Dragon Age 1 and 2, or Dragon Age 2 and Inquisition, it's just not a road we want the hero to walk right now. In other words, they find it problematic that a hero does something that doesn't seem heroic because it's the virtue signal. I'm the hero. I do all the good stuff. But having an option in the game to where somebody's not doing the heroic thing, that's a problem. And that's what I'm. Yeah. My wife's just got home. It'll go away. Sorry, but more people like. Well, do you think we'll ever be? Oh.
What's that?
I'm hearing a.
I hear a beep too.
That's not me.
There's a emergency vehicle outside my house.
Yeah, I have those come by the house all the time, but luckily I'm in the basement, so you can't really.
Well, hopefully I'm not on fire. I'll wait a few minutes.
Well, I see you smoldering a little bit, but it must be the blood magic. but it says, do you think we'll ever turn back to being allowed to do nasty stuff? It's not how you use it is what makes it nasty. It itself is not nasty. That's like necromancy 101. What I always loved about Dragon Age Origins and 2 was that you were able to role play a complete jerk anti-hero, and that the good guy hero is just an overused trope, in my opinion. And he's like, well, hero who is not a complete jerk anti-hero is not a single trope. We give you different ways to play Rook and Veilguard, but stuff we set up as corrupting, red lyrium, blood magic, is mostly reserved for the villains this time for clear storytelling. It might be different in future games. Why is it clear storytelling? How does this make this anything clear storytelling? I don't get it. But
we don't have that mindset.
It's the virtue signal thing. I'm righteous. I'm the good person. That's their safe space. Is that good? It reinforces them like, oh yes, I'm such a good person because blah 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 blah. That's how it always is. Their safe space just means that they look virtuous despite everything else. That's their safe space. The rest of us are like, we just want to like Baldur's Gate 3. You can burn an entire village to the ground if you want to. You can attack innocent people if you want to. This game probably won't even let you do that. It's probably going to lock you in on a railroaded path that you're always doing the right thing. All of the dialogue is going to point you into the right way. And if you screw up, it's just going to throw you in prison and then you have to get back out and you'll lose some money, the classic Skyrim style. Yeah. And it's just nothing of consequence is going to happen of it. So what's the point? But he's like, okay, does this apply only to Rook, or will there not be any morally gray, sympathetic blood mages? Well, no, they're all going to be bad guys. They've already stated they're villains. Yeah. These people are going to use this morally questionable technique, which again, it's not. Like, even if you look at like Avatar: The Last Airbender, like waterbenders can blood bend because there's water and blood, whatever. Yeah. But the blood bending isn't bad. It's just bad people use blood bending.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Like it itself, you could use it as a tool, as a soldier, to kill your opponent if they're attacking your place, like your city, your people, you personally, like self-defense. Like you just use their blood and you stop them. It's literally that's it. It's like Magneto. Magneto can be a good guy or he can be a bad guy. Most of the time he's a bad guy, but you can be a good guy or bad guy and use the metal in someone's body, just kill them like over and over and over and over, like thousands of people. But he can do it for good reasons and he can do it for bad reasons. It's all in how it's used, not that it itself is bad. It's just a technique. It's a thing he can do. So the whole concept of it's morally gray. It's like, it's not morally gray. The person's morally gray. The technique has nothing to do with it. Like if you play Guild Wars 2, Necromancer's an actual class. You can raise little minions of little meat chunks and everything, and you can have them do all different things. They can do good things. They can do bad things, but that's going to be based upon you. But I mean, in that game, you can't attack allies and stuff. You can only attack neutrals and hostiles. But that doesn't really matter because that's not what you're going for. You're usually on a quest to be the goody two-shoes, to do the right thing. That's the whole point of Guild Wars 2 in that regard, is building you up. But if you play something like Baldur's Gate, there's no such thing that locks you in place. You can do whatever. You're like, yeah, my ally's talking to somebody right now. I'm going to start burning the place to the ground just randomly because you feel like it. That's your actions being morally gray or evil. That's not what you're using to do that. Because if you do it with a sword or if you do it with blood magic, the person's still dying. It doesn't matter.
Well, that's an argument that that side doesn't comprehend.
Obviously. That's the whole reason we have to talk about it, is because nobody can figure it out. But he's like, oh, I'm only talking about Rook. Blah, blah, blah. Whatever. So it's BioWare's exploring options for reintroducing similar stuff or whatever. And like, oh, these guys are... You're telling me that Corey... How do you say it? Corpheus, I think, was the bad guy, quote unquote, because he used hundreds of slaves to get to the Golden City. I'm so upset right now. Sarcasm to the point of being singularity. Yeah, I wouldn't want a hero, even a nominal one, that would do stuff like that. Snowflake in safe space, anyone? Like, that's literally all that person is. It's like, it's a shame because use your health to cast more spells is a fun game. That's a common thing for most necromancers. Okay. Why is the risk reward thing, like he's mentioning, the risk reward playstyle? It's bad because, well, bad guys do it. That's what bad guys do. It's the same thing as like, well, if you kill somebody with a grenade or if you kill them with a shotgun, one of those is bad, the other one not so bad. It's like, you're still killing your opponent. It doesn't matter. Like, the outcome is the exact same. It's just how you get there. Both of them could bleed out from arm being gone.
Well, like I said, their mentality doesn't understand that.
Oh, it's so frustrating. But like, even then, like, the game graphically looks like it's high resolution, but the graphic style looks really cheesy compared to the prior Dragon Age games. And it just, they're like, we want to make the protagonist likable and relatable to the audiences, and it's just a modern audience.
They got to look ugly too, you know.
But yes, because the modern audience is ugly, so obviously you have to make the game match. But yeah, there's a lot more to this article, but it's not really worth going over, I guess. But they talked about the whole pansexual thing. We're all, let's see, actually, I think I just saw it. So game's creative director announced that game's companions are pansexual. There's a difference between player sexual and pansexual. All companions are canonically pansexual. No. All companions are canonically pansexual as of this game. They made them. It's the same issue I have with comics and canon, is because like all this time this character is straight, and then they make a new one in the modern era and says, oh, see, they're canonically gay or they're canonically bisexual. And it's like, but they're not. They just became it because you made it that way. And if I ignore your run of the comics, everything else is not. So I hate when they say, oh, it's canonically, when it's not been canonically. Canonically means the entire run. It's not. That's not how that works. But their whole talking about the backstories and being pansexual, it's all ridiculously annoying, and I find it really, really annoying. But there's more news on Dragon Age the Veilguard. Dragon Age the Veilguard removes player control over companions. Game director attempts to explain why. Why would you take away the player's ability to utilize more characters? Well, can't think of a good reason. Like, there's really not a good reason as far as I can think, because
I wonder if they're doing like a slavery bad thing.
It's not slavery. You're just, it's a team tactical strategy.
Remember their mentality though.
Well, I'm sure they think it's probably slavery of some sort. But then now you're going to have characters do things that are going to prevent you from succeeding, because that's what AI does. AI will get in your way even as your allies. That's why you want control of them. Like Baldur's Gate 3, you can control all the characters that are under your control, or you can split the control between you and other players that are playing in your group, or whatever the case might be. But you tell them where to go, what spells to use, etc., because you want to tactically take advantage of the strategy, just like you would in D&D, which is what Baldur's Gate 3 literally is, just a digital version of it. And you tell them, I want X, Y, and Z to happen. Like, this is our game plan going in. And they go in, they execute it, and it's literally just Rainbow Six. If anybody's familiar with Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six stuff, the video games. Love that series. But that's literally what it is. It's just a tactical strategy. Anybody played any of the Warhammer turn-based games? That's what it is. But no, you can't command your armies because that's slavery. I'm like, well, a general would be considered a slave owner if that was the case. So why are you playing that game at all? What's the point? But it says Dragon Age the Veilguard game director, a man pretending to be a woman and calling himself Corinne Bush, which is true. It's a trans person. Confirmed the upcoming game removes player control over companions. He says, why is this gameplay mechanic, which goes hand in hand with the franchise, is being removed? It's like, well, on the experiential side, we wanted you to feel like you are Rook. You're in this world, you're really focused on your actions. We wanted the companions to feel like they, as fully realized characters, are in control of their own actions. They make their own decisions, which could go horribly wrong really quickly, which is why this is not going to be a very popular game. Also offered other reasons, like the Veilguard is a much higher actions per minute game and is more technically demanding on the player. So is it going to be turn-based? Because the way they have it set up looks like it's not turn-based at all. And if that's the case,
I don't know. I mean, like, it just sounds like they're making a bunch of decisions by people who want the game they want to make as opposed to the game the audience wants.
So when we tried allowing you full control of your companions as well, what we found is that it actually wasn't adding to the experience. How? In fact, in some ways it was detrimental. You mean like them doing whatever they want and getting you in trouble when you don't want to be in trouble?
Mm-hmm.
Or standing up and running into an area when you're trying to sneak? Like, what? Given the demanding nature of just controlling your own character. Well, yes, but if you're playing a turn-based, this is easy. If you're not playing a turn-based, you'd play a pause game, you'd give them the commands and hit play, and then they would do the commands. That's how you would do it if you're doing the faster play. But how? I'm not a game developer and I know this. Maybe I just played a ridiculous amount of games. I don't know. But he's like, I admit on paper, if you just read that you have no ability to control your companions, that might feel like something was taken away. It doesn't feel like that. No, it literally is what it is. But in our testing, it doesn't mean anything. And validating with players, that's not a good metric at all. Yeah. What we find is that they're more engaged than ever. I'm not engaged when I have to run around telling my companions to stop doing stuff because they're doing whatever the heck they want.
Well, their definition of engagement is using up your time.
Well, it's like if I want to go into a shop and just talk to the shopkeeper, buy some goods, and leave. My AI-controlled companions that I don't have any control of walk in there and decide to start stealing things, which gets me in trouble with the law. And then they're like, oh, well, you know what? They caught me, so I'm going to kill the shopkeeper so I can't get arrested, which gets me in even more trouble. And just things after things happen because that's what AI personality controls would do, whatever they want. They're not just going to stand there. Mm-hmm. That's not how this works. If they are, there's no actual life to this game if they're just standing there waiting for you to do whatever. If it's combat only, why is it combat only? If it's partially turn-based and partially live action, again, why am I not controlling the characters? Odds are I'm probably not going to play the game. I'll probably watch some gameplay and just have it validate my concerns. But the strategic layer to combat as a huddle, when you're figuring out how you want to handle the situation based on information you have in the encounter and how you and your companion synergize together. Okay, that just sounds like a pause the game with spacebar or whatever button in consoles, and then tell people, here's what I want you to do. I want you to stay back. I want you to play, support. I want you to do this. Even telling them those things, like very generic, like, hey, you play support, you play attack, you play defense. That gives you more control over your characters than what they seem to be giving you. So what's the point? Why would I be interested in this? And I think that's the exact same image from the other article too. But then I don't know, they get into the whole trans woman, queer, sexual, gendermancer in the bio, whatever. I don't particularly care as much about that stuff because it's ridiculous either way you look at it. That's the guy.
There's no queer for you.
Yeah. No queer for you. But they start going into the woke ideologies. I don't even necessarily care about that stuff. Like, I don't care if it's woke or whatever. I just know it's bad. That's all I know. It's bad. It's bad game design. It's gonna be bad gameplay. It's already not popular. So they're just bringing their own personal ideologies.
Yeah, they're making the game they want.
They think they know what's better for the game, but it's going to crash and burn because they actually don't know. They're not playing as gamers. They're playing as ideologues. And we're gamers. We don't care about your ideology. We just want the game to be good. And that's that. It's literally that simple. So that's something else to look forward to. What else do we got? Oh, here's a fun one that you'd probably enjoy. It's outside the video game industry. Daredevil Born Again. Charlie Cox says he prepped by reading Frank Miller and Chip Zdarsky's run. And John Bernthal reveals he trained with Thomas Jane, which is actually kind of cool because Thomas Jane was like the bomb for Punishers, in my opinion. And I'm pretty sure he did the voice of the Punisher in the Punisher game that I played the crap out of when I was growing up. I don't know where my disc is, but I still have my actual copy of it.
The most accurate, just to bring it up, the most accurate portrayal of the Punisher on screen was by Dolph Lundgren.
Besides the blondness, or
the sort of emotionless serial killer,
Thomas Jane was like that.
No, he was nowhere near as the Punisher. Before the family was killed, yeah. But like
after the family was killed, he was just like deadpanned, unless he's fighting them. He's like that. But I mean, the Punisher can still show facial. It's just
that was all stuff they added on in the comics later when they had to make him an anti-hero. Originally, he was basically a serial killer who killed villains, and
he's Dexter.
Well, yeah, and I just said Dexter had a little more emotional range.
I don't care about the emotional range. I care about the results.
And in the limited exposure of circumstances, the Punisher was a cool character, like in a miniseries or a guest star. But like anything, they ruin it when they turn, But this is I sincerely doubt they're going to do Born Again with any degree of
accuracy,
authenticity to the storyline.
Well, yeah, because Disney's going to ruin it. They're not going to go.
There's not going to be heroin-induced porn.
What?
Yes, heroin-induced porn. Watch your face. So what happened is, I can't remember her name. The girl who was the blonde woman, they got her addicted to heroin. They made her do porn, and then they made her go up to.
You're talking about Karen or whatever her name is.
Karen or whatever, yeah. So. And it was a very dark storyline, and she got Daredevil addicted to heroin, basically, and then exposed to the identity of the Kingpin. That's basically the storyline, grossly oversimplified. And Born Again was happened like after that, when he recovered from the heroin addiction and fought back and regained his all license and all that,
Yeah, well, I liked the Daredevil first 3 seasons. That came out on Netflix. I thought they were fantastic.
Okay.
I thought they were fantastic. I love the brutality.
The storyline was okay. The fighting was okay. So none of them have superpowers, but they fought like they had.
I mean, he does have a superpower, but it's not that kind of.
They didn't have like Captain America, for example, has superhuman physical durability, right?
He has super serum, yeah.
So he can take hits. The Scarlet Witch, for example, dodges because she can't take hits. Daredevil and everyone in this show. Were pounding the crap out of each other and recovering the next day. And like,
Daredevil is supposed to be. He laid on his couch a few times to be like, you got.
They shouldn't have been able to walk. Daredevil, his fighting style is agility based, not getting hit, outsmarting guys.
Yeah, but I think that's like the difference between like starting out as opposed to being that for multiple years on go over time, because. Being like his dad being a boxer and him being a boxer, his dad was a soak damage kind of a person because he's taken the fall, so to speak. And I can understand how they're relaying Daredevil because it's the entry into the majority of people's viewpoints, unless they watch the Ben Affleck stuff. But I think this easily surpasses Ben Affleck's version. But
oh yeah, it is better than Affleck. I'm no question on that.
All I'm saying is like. Seeing him soak up damage and going through a bunch, because I mean, seeing Daredevil go through like 30 guys in a small hallway, I would expect him to get hit a couple times. I'm not gonna be like, well, he has agility, so he just never gets hit. That's more unrealistic than anything else.
Marvel Comics, martial arts give you superpowers, so they should have explained he had a martial arts superpower, or like his tankiness. Had no explanation, so that took me out of it. And but it was not just him; it was every character. They were hitting each other like their bodies didn't matter, and that's not. And it's supposed to be a realistic fighting style, but it wasn't because they were taking too much damage.
Well, I mean, I will say he takes a lot of damage, but the Punisher takes a lot of unrealistic damage all the time. Like that's just the Punisher.
Well, I'm talking the Daredevil.
Well, I know, but I'm saying like in terms of like characters that don't have superpowers taking a lot of damage. Punisher takes a lot of damage.
Well, no, he got superpowers early on. In the comic, at least.
The Punisher?
Yeah.
What superpower?
He became a 10-ton brick. That means he could lift 10 tons and has the durability of a 10-ton brick.
I've been a fan of the Punisher for a long time, and I've never heard that.
Yeah, it was after Spider-Man beat the shit out of him. He went to that.
He just falls in a big chemical bloop of something and it just comes out.
I think he went to the Power Broker. He's the guy who gives guys. He was the guy who was giving guys superpowers with a formula. There was a version of that character in the Luke Cage series.
Never heard that.
basically in the Luke Cage show, the guy who gave Luke Cage his powers that's not how Luke Cage got them in the comics. But
are you talking about the guy who gave Wade Wilson his powers?
That's another guy. That's a guy who was doing experiments on people with super healing factors. The power broker.
I thought he didn't have the super healing factor yet.
Yeah, the power broker was kind of like he was giving low-level thugs and pro wrestlers like what we call brick superpowers: superhuman strength, superhuman agility. And they were they became what we call 10-ton bricks, where they could bench press 10 tons and had that atrocious level of durability.
Never heard any of this.
Yeah, it was after Spider-Man. It was 1990 something. When did Spider-Man? It was on Skyscraper.
The Spider-Man can lift like 500 tons though, so that's not a fair comparison.
Well, he can lift a lot of weight, but Spider-Man was a class.
He pulls his punches. He pulls his punches.
Well, he was a class 10 when he was a teenager, became a class 15 as an adult, and then when he got the 2 upgrades, he became a class 20 and a 25.
I just remember seeing a power scale, and he could max him out.
Well,
the
number relates to comparing them to each other, even though it originally was 25 tons. It's just comparing them to one another, right? So another class like Namor the Submariner on land, that was a class 70. In the water, it was a class 100, like the Hulk. So that means you can match the ability of someone at that level, right? So the Punisher guy was like a below peak human level. Peak human was Captain America before they retconned his abilities, and Punisher was non-peak super. Not the word's not super. Well, the real world would be superhuman, but in comics, I forget what it's called. The scale above a regular person, but before Captain America level. And then he got the shit beat out of him by Spider-Man. And he realized, and he killed a whole bunch of street level villains, but couldn't kill superpowered villains. So he went to the power broker. I'm trying to remember the sequencing right. And the power broker gave him an upgrade to be a class 10 guy. And then he fought Spider-Man again on a skyscraper, and Spider-Man didn't know he was superpowered. And this was when Peter was still like a class 15. And because Punisher had all the skills, he beat the shit out of Spider-Man. Right, but then Spider-Man got his 2 upgrades, which were when the Spider Queen, the Spider
I've never heard any of this in terms of general knowledge of Marvel characters.
The Spider Queen upgrade.
I much prefer them without the powers, honestly.
Yeah. Well, again, everyone got that level of powers eventually, so no one cared.
Yeah, I much rather him just being the.
You need to remember that Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, could beat up Captain America, and Captain America could take on Namor and make it evenly on land.
On land specifically,
yeah. Well, Namor has strength comparable to the Hulk before he enrages in the ocean.
But I'm just saying, Daredevil going into a hallway, jumping off of one of the walls and just duking a guy.
I'm not arguing that part of it.
That stuff is the realistic fighting I enjoy because it's
episode after episode where he would just keep fighting like that, and there was no magical recovery. No, he would just look tired.
Isn't that what Bruce Wayne does all the time?
Well, no, Bruce Wayne has martial arts superpowers. Bruce Wayne's mastery of the martial arts has given him Captain America-like abilities.
He still gets beat up in a lot of instances when he fights Bane or something.
Bane happened because Bane worked on him for a year, making him overwork, constantly fight guys who were superpowered, and Bane attacked him when he was physically and mentally the weakest.
Yeah, but I'm saying just being I know Aikido, I know karate, I know ninjutsu, or whatever the case might be, because they basically make Batman a god at this point. But him being a man who knows martial arts does not mean he's just not going to take beatings.
He knows comic book martial arts. They're different than real world martial arts. But again, the style,
whatever the martial arts are.
I have read over 200 issues of Daredevil's comic books. Okay, and the fighting style depicted by him in that show was not what he fought like in the comic. And when I come from that perspective, I like the show's storylines. I thought the tone was good, but the fighting was just that's not Daredevil, and that was my biggest complaint about it. But anyway, we're talking about Born Again, not sidetracking into yeah.
But
so they're not
Charlie
going to do
Cox
this
is going to come back as Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil.
Well, they had to redo this whole thing. They
John
actually
Bernthal, I think, is reprising his role as Punisher.
They had done this whole show, and they wokeified it, and they threw it out.
Well, yeah, it was not going to end well. Are they going back to the red suit, or are they still doing the yellow one?
That I don't know.
Yeah, because the red suit's where it's at. The yellow one looks stupid. And they definitely need to have Karen Page, Foggy Nelson into it because they had a really good dynamic in the show.
Well, you can't Page, you have to get addicted to heroin and do porn.
Sure. I don't think they're going to show that in this one, though. I would like them to go to the rated R or TVMA or whatever it is they're doing. It's Born Again.
Well, they don't have to show her doing the porn. I mean, they don't have to show that, but her story arc is she got addicted to heroin and forced to do like adult activities against her will, and that led to her betraying Daredevil.
Yeah, I don't know how they're probably going to hard swing that one because women can't look powerless.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, you can still make it work without that particular storyline.
We heard about them redoing this show 3 or 4 months ago, and that's when Kevin Feige supposedly fired all of the woke reader people.
We'll get to that.
This might have been. This might lead into that. Like I'm saying, this might have been one of the trigger events.
Maybe.
Like you might have saw it and said, "Oh my God, this is going to be worse than She-Hulk."
So they are bringing Karen Page back because originally they weren't, and they weren't going to have Foggy either. They need to bring Foggy back.
Supposedly, all of the Netflix people, all those characters are interesting actors showing up.
Well, John Bernthal is apparently returning as Frank Castle, aka the Punisher, and he has some wild enthusiasm. He believes fans will be thrilled by the fact he has trained alongside Thomas Jane, a fellow Punisher alum, who played the gun-toting anti-hero in 2004 as a Punisher film. That was my intro to Punisher, and I loved it.
It was good.
But the guy who plays Foggy is not apparently on the role, which doesn't make sense because that was some great chemistry. And they're wondering, can Disney, and the answer is no before you even say anything, just can Disney? No. But can Disney rekindle or recatch that fire that Netflix had? I'm putting money down. No. But I would rather be proven wrong and them actually make something decent that I would enjoy. That's my my preferred method.
I hate to say this, but if they make 2 good movies in a row and 2 good TV shows in a row, the fans will come back.
Which would be the right course of action if they continue to make good stuff. But as soon as they make bad stuff, they're going to lose them all.
Well, I mean, they're going to lose all this momentum with Deadpool and Captain America.
Yeah, Captain African America. Yeah.
Well, that's even the whole. Not to get sidetracked. Actually, see, this is where they ruin. This is where the woke morons ruin themselves. Okay, there actually is a black Captain America. Okay, a character who exists, Isaiah Bradley, or is that the son? Whatever. He was Captain America too. Okay, after Steve Rogers disappeared, they tried to put him through the super soldier formula, right? And they could have made him the black Captain America. But no, we can't use an actual existing black Captain America. We got to make the Falcon black Captain America.
Well, yeah, because everything has to be racially motivated for Disney. Now, you're going to like this one. Minnie Driver attempts to explain why Prime Video gender swap Penguin for Batman Cape Crusader.
There's no valid explanation.
Actress Minnie Driver, who will voice a gender swap Penguin in Prime Video's Batman Cape Crusader, attempted to explain why the show gender swapped iconic villain Penguin. Why did they make Penguin, the short little guy, into a ginormous monster? The reveal of a gender swap Penguin was revealed during San Diego Comic-Con and posted to X, introducing Oswalda Cobblepot, but you can call her the Penguin. And Batman Cape Crusader arrives August 1st. There's your option. She's taller than Bruce Wayne? How is that the Penguin? The whole point of the Penguin is he's got a long nose and he's short and waddles like a penguin.
Supposedly this is flopping.
It's literally. Oh, yeah. I have no doubt. It's on Amazon, for crying out loud. But the announcement was met with, obviously, people disliking the concept and people mocking the gender swap. Now, it's also funny because the voice actor has a pretty good voice and it does not match the character. The character is hideous and huge and fat. And the voice sounds like from a slender Jessica Rabbit.
Minnie Driver is a cool actress. I mean, she probably is.
I don't actually know who she is. It's probably better that way.
If you saw Minnie Driver, you would know who she is. I mean,
Press X to doubt,
you've
but
never seen. Trying to remember something you would think of something you would have seen her in.
I mean, I watch less movies every day. I only watch TV shows at this point, so, and even those I get really picky about.
Did you see Good Will Hunting?
The what?
Have you seen Good Will Hunting?
No.
I
heard about it. I know what it is.
Did you see Goldeneye?
A long time ago. I don't remember very much besides Pierce Brosnan.
She was one of the Russian, the second. She was the good Russian female in Goldeneye. Not everyone remembers Femke Jensen.
I remember Goldeneye on 64 more than I remember the movie. Let's put it that way. I played many hours of that. But
do you remember? See, I don't know what you would have watched as the thing. Like,
who knows? But there's a lot of people really upset with the fact that they're making like when they're using Minnie Driver when they could use her on Catwoman or something else. And it's like, okay, that's a lot of female villains. Why are they doing that for this particular character? Now, not to mention they thickified pretty much every female in the series.
Yeah.
Which is weird, especially when the whole point of like Catwoman is that she can get into tight spaces. Well, you're not getting into tight spaces when your waist is bigger than, well, it should be.
Yeah.
To put it nicely. And it's like they're making all these things like, oh, Catwoman's now a lesbian, but then again, every single female in this is now a lesbian for unknown reasons, other than they're making this other stuff that people don't want.
Well, that's the thing. You know, put a chicken and make it gay. You know,
so it's literally the meme right in front of us. That's just a mention. But yeah, Minnie Driver's trying to defend the character and like address the criticism and all that stuff. And it's like, here's the thing: if it hadn't been so beautifully imagined or reimagined, if it had somehow just been shoehorned in a some box of, oh, we now have fluidity and around characters, that's not it. The essence of Penguin is the essence of Penguin. This is not the essence of Penguin, Minnie Driver. Well, you apparently don't know anything about Penguin.
Just as an explanation, these people, these actors, they don't care about these characters they play for the most part. They're just they say, oh, I got another role. They're making a character that could be an interesting artistic role. I'll check that out. You know,
this is her concept of what Penguin is: properly evil, does terrible things, and will be embraced as a villain she's always been. That's what she thinks Penguin is. Penguin's not just properly evil. He doesn't just do terrible things, and it doesn't not just the embracing that
probably on the sheet they gave her for the role.
Yeah, but it's like that just shows to everyone that knows Penguin. And granted, I'm not the greatest. I'm not big into DC like everybody else might be. I didn't grow up on DC. I was big into Marvel. I wasn't really big into DC. And my big into Marvel was just I like Spider-Man. I like the Punisher. I like Ghost Rider. I like Spawn. Well, Spawn's not technically Marvel, but I like Spawn. I like the darker characters for the most part. I grew up on Spider-Man and moved more to the darker characters because that's the kind of stuff I like. I like the anti-heroes more than the heroes. I find the heroes really boring.
Well, like I said, but these actors, 90% of actors aren't fans of these products. They're just acting.
That's obvious. But the art itself, I feel like the Batman animated series was better artwork than this.
I'm not saying the artwork is bad from the look at it.
I'm just saying, like, I watched some scenes of it, and I'm like, that's what they came up with? This doesn't even look as good to me as the animated series, which I think the animated series is good.
Even if the artwork were great, because of the gender swap, I wouldn't watch it.
They've ruined the story in other ways. I get that, but I'm just saying, the quality.
There's a creative way to do gender swaps. They could have the penguin fall into a vat, and for an episode be a female penguin and go back. There's creative ways you could do it, and it would be interesting. But not to say, the penguin's now female.
But there's already so many female characters they can use.
Yeah.
Why? And you'll never see them do like a Poison Ivy that turns into a dude. That'll never happen.
Of course, because they would never have a dude using chemicals to rape women. That's what she does. Poison Ivy uses it as a female rapist, basically.
Yeah. Well, also murders them that way too. Yeah, that's a different story. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Murder is okay more to show on TV. Raping women is not.
Harley Quinn is a joke in this as well.
Raping women is always wrong, and so is raping men.
Isn't Harley Quinn Asian in this?
I'm putting the PSA. I have to do our PSA so we don't get in trouble. Rape is always wrong, whether it's a man or a woman. Just so we all know that, right?
True story. I believe the Harley Quinn in this is Asian. I'm like,
she's Asian and
blonde. Well, they're all thickified, so yeah.
Well, at least she's back in the Harlem costume. I'll say that.
Well, like I co-created the character, which I believe was in the animated series, so I have a lot of love and affection for her. But I thought there might be something interesting about bringing her to the show, just not as Joker's girlfriend. I'm like, her entire character, and you as the co-creator should know this, is there for the Joker. That's literally what she exists for. She's a side piece for the Joker.
Well, she can be her own character in a sense. She has to be a murderer. She has to be the crazy girlfriend vibe. She has to,
sure.
She has to wear the actual.
She's a yandere character. Sure, I get that.
That's why I hate. As much as Margot Robbie is hot, she could play her, but I hate the costume she's in. But it's not the Harley.
Yeah. I think the original is much better, but I don't really care about Harley Quinn. And she's obviously that's not a healthy relationship that you should not ever aspire to have. So why people do that, I don't know. But needless to say,
it's a trope in stories, the crazy girlfriend trope, you know?
Well, I get that, but I'm saying people are like, oh, I want to have a relationship like Joker and Harley Quinn. And it's like he abuses her all the time. That's not a good
This is not a real rumor, okay? This is some executive
they haven't seen it yet, so I would like to point this out.
This is an executive floating this and trying to generate buzz for it so that he can say, oh, yeah, the fans like my idea to do it. This isn't a really fair.
I think it would work. I do think it would work. And I think it would draw a lot of people in. But yeah, there's a rumor that Henry Cavill is in talking, and it does say rumor to its credit. It's a rumor that he's in talks to play Wolverine after cameos, Cavillerine as they call him, in Deadpool and Wolverine. I think he could pull it off. Like I think he nailed the look. Like him and Hugh Jackman both have access to the look.
I don't know. I'm trying to think like who, you know.
I think it would be in good hands because he would give a crap about the character and put his heart and soul into it.
But would he have control enough to make the character not be fucked up? No.
Well, I don't know. It depends. Is it just going to be a Deadpool movie where Ryan Reynolds has complete control? Maybe. Yeah. If it's somebody else. Now, if the other rumor that we will get to is true, then he might have a lot more say in it than they give him credit for.
Hugh Jackman has, because of the success and enjoyment of Deadpool, he has said he's willing to other sort of supporting roles of Returns as Wolverine now. So,
yeah.
He just won't. He won't do any of the woke stuff. He won't say that publicly, but the same reason Hemsworth's not coming back to Thor, he won't he won't have his character be.
Well, Hemsworth gave very specific. Like, I'm not going to do it if these people are doing it. I'm only going to do it if this is happening.
He will not play a cuck character. He won't do it.
Yeah, well, he should have started out with that.
Well, he can't say it that way because he wants to have jobs. You know.
Well, I know, but I'm saying like he should have decided that. Like, I don't. This doesn't sound like my character.
Back in the Avengers movies is because
it's too hard.
The Russos are doing it, and they did Extraction with him. I don't know if you watched Extraction 1 and 2 yet.
I haven't, but I've heard good things about.
Yeah, they're both on Netflix. They're excellent movies. They're
Maxflix?
Matflix.
You mean Netflix?
What do you have access to that I have?
Oh, yeah. Okay. I thought you said Netflix and HBO.
My entire family calls that Matflix.
Okay, well that makes sense. Yeah. But yeah,
I have higher quality. That my cousin goes to me about a year ago. Man, you have a higher quality of animation there than Netflix does. I'm like, Netflix has better standards.
This is true, but you are lacking in the anime series. So you can go to Anywave, and just download everything because they.
Well, I only get something if someone wants to watch it. I don't just grab shit for them.
Well, I know, but archiving purposes.
I have to. I mean, if I knew my job with certainty, like after this fall, I would probably spend $2,000 and build a moon modern array, no problem. I'm using my
put it in space. Just put it in space.
Yeah. No, I have a 20 terabyte NAS that's at about 1.3 terabytes, so it's plenty of room. But
not enough for anime. That's not plenty.
It's about 10 years old, right?
Yeah.
So
you're gonna have to upgrade it at some point.
Yeah, but because of my financials, I mean, I'm in good shape financially. Don't get me wrong, right? But I know my job is going away.
Take your time. Take your time. Yeah. Just we'll talk about it later. But take your time.
If and when I make my job situation certain, I have the money in the bank to just this computer stuff I want to do in my house that I have put off because I'm trying to stockpile some money.
But you got Henry Cavill potentially in talks. I hope it's true. I don't get me wrong. I like Hugh Jackman and I like Henry Cavill. I like both of them. Like if they're gonna stick to the stupid multiverse stuff, have them both show up in the same movie to be freaking awesome. But
if I got Kevin Feige's job, I would make him Namor.
Henry Cavill?
He looks like Namor.
Well, I mean, he looks like a lot of characters.
not fake Namor that they had in that horrible.
Namor.
Yeah.
That's Gary always says.
I would literally wish that.
There's like, full 30-second cameo. Like it's literally the amount of time he's in the actual film.
Yep.
But yeah, like I think he would enjoy working with Ryan Reynolds, and if Ryan Reynolds was in like control of things, it would work out much better. Or if they found somebody who actually would honor Wolverine's legacy and actually write good stuff, which again we'll get to the other rumors. But if that was the case, we could get a pretty sweet Wolverine. He's like, to be safe, I shaved the mustache off for this one. Just the mustache.
If I had the money, this is a little side thing. So there's a trilogy of books, The Fianna Bar Tapestry by Guy Gariel Kay, who's the guy who helped Christopher Tolkien write the Silmarillion together. If I had like $1 billion to throw at a project, I would do that, and I would make him one of the lead characters in it. He physically resembles.
Well, if they did like a rebranding where they brought in different characters for the X-Men and whatever, he'd be a good choice. If they weren't going to go with Hugh Jackman.
Actually, who in the X-Men? Colossus.
Him be Colossus? Well, Colossus, you can't tell who that is, though.
No, you can certainly tell who.
He's just meddled over. Like
Henry Cavill.
Well, Juggernaut, maybe.
He can play a good villain. I don't know if you watched the Mission Impossible film. He was the best.
I haven't watched Mission Impossible since Mission Impossible 3, but I did see clips of that and I did like it.
He was the best.
I like him in virtually everything he's in, even if what he's in is trash.
Yeah,
I typically like him.
But I like
everything else can be trash.
He to me is. I mean, he was the best Superman. He as an actor, he was the best one since Reeves. Okay. And there've been some good ones.
The story did him dirty. The producers did him dirty. The directors did him dirty.
Yeah.
He would have been fine if they gave him what he wanted, which was the Truth, Justice, America way, happy, hopeful Superman.
Yeah.
So, like there's so
many things
you could do Superman, but
a big heroic comic book role, like to carry the film. I want to see. I mean, I'm always going to think of Chris Hemsworth as Thor, but had he not been Thor, Cavill could have been Thor. Type of thing. And
I mean, I could see him playing virtually anything because he actually did the research and he actually put everything into it.
Yeah,
where everybody else may or may not. I think he's just that much of a nerd. I think it would actually be pulled off. But we have this beauty right here with the rumor that Marvel Studios cleaned house and fired activist producers. Rumor. It's rumor. I like to say allegedly. Like that's it. There's no definitive evidence or proof that this actually happened. But if there is a rumor that Feige's like, we need to course correct, and we need to course correct hard. Where Star Wars and Lucasfilm is like, we don't need a course correct. What are you talking about? We do everything perfectly every single time.
Well,
not the same way for Marvel. So Marvel's allegedly correcting.
The big difference between Kathleen Kennedy and Kevin Feige is when Kathleen Kennedy was a big stockholder in Lucasfilm, unlike Lucas, who sold out of it just to go independent, Kathleen Kennedy is now a high-ranking stock executive in Disney. So she has clout at that level. So that's why she keeps her job.
She also has dirt on people.
Yeah. Well, everyone at that level has dirt on someone. I'm not. Point is,
I know, but like you don't fail so stinking hard, and let alone lose money on yourself because your stocks are dropping because you're making poor decisions. Yeah. You don't do that and stay in power unless you got dirt on somebody. Like somebody else would be like,
"Let's has dirt," but she has corporate clout that Fahey doesn't. So
yeah, but yeah, so allegedly, there's a rumor that Chris Gore from Film Threat made during Critical Drinkers thing that he apparently has an inside source or something. And he's like, I do know people that work at Marvel. They have cleaned house. They quietly months ago fired all the producers that would be labeled activists. And he's like, unlike Lucasfilm is lost, completely lost. They're doubling down on all the nonsense. They will never get anything good out of Lucasfilm and Star Wars. That's it.
Yeah.
Which is
until Kennedy's gone and whoever comes in cleans house.
Well, there's a joke on that one coming up too. So we'll get to that eventually.
I'm still here. I'm just turning the screen off for a bit.
That's fine. In contrast, Kevin Feige recognizes basically that he said we tried it, it didn't work, and he's talking about Phase 4. It didn't work. They got no Kang, none of those side characters that don't have legacy or of class characters. And if Deadpool and Wolverine proves anything, you've heard that phrase, male and pale is stale. That was spoken aloud across the studios. But if you look at the box office this year, I would say male and pale is money. That's the phrase I think people should more adopt.
Yep.
Which, I mean, it shouldn't matter what anyone's skin tone is. It shouldn't matter anything like that. It shouldn't matter if they're male, female. It shouldn't matter if they're pale or not. It should matter that they do a good job and the story is good, well written, and that, you know, everything is properly done.
Yeah.
That's all that should matter. That will bring you money. Guaranteed. 100%. I'd put my house on it. Like everything, 100%. If I made bets against people like this, I would literally be able to buy $1 million mansions with the amount of money I'd win from just people making dumb decisions. Like it's literally that simple. It's not difficult at all. But he also says, additionally, they fire people that don't know the comics, which is smart when you're doing comics. But it's going to be a sea of change that will take years. Yes, it will take years for them to course correct. It's obviously not going to happen overnight. They've got stuff in the pipeline already. They've got to make it move. So if they're moving into Phase 5, I would expect Phase 6 to be when they actually could fully course correct, or the end of Phase 5 when they can like bring in more stuff and make it actually happen.
When does Avengers 5 due out? That's 2026.
I do not know, honestly.
But it was at CDCC or STC. Whatever.
They're allegedly going to be basically not having anybody, according to Feige. They're not going to have anybody from Phase 4 in the new Avengers, allegedly.
So there was they had at SDCC. They showed when they talked about the Avengers, like what year the two films are coming out, right? So it's not 2025 because it's too soon, and so they have 2 years basically to sort of, you know, obviously anything in the pipeline right now is toast or not. You know what I mean? So, but they could, if they do it right, Avengers Doomsday, I think the first one. Yeah, I think it's Avengers Doomsday. Well, the first of the two is. That could be the one that's good. You know what I mean? Even if Captain America is going to suck. What else have in pipeline?
Well, they're saying that maybe Fantastic Four could potentially be good. I'm just tired of seeing Pedro Pascal everywhere.
I can't stand the motherfucker.
It's getting super old. I am just really annoyed by his presence in everything. Like he's gonna be in Gladiator 2, he's gonna be in this, he's in Mandalorian, he's in that, he's in this, that, and other. He's everywhere. He does not need to be everywhere.
I got tired of him after the Mandalorian. Two things. One, when he insisted on too much of removing the helmet, right? So, like, there were only 2 times in The Mandalorian he should have taken the helmet off, okay? Once when he was undercover at the base, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the second when Grogu left. Those are the only 2 times you should have seen his face in the entire show.
Yeah. But, yeah. Also, nice little ad here for...
and then, plus, when he betrayed...
The OneRing.com. Check them out. If you ever get the chance, exploring Tolkien, respecting the lore every episode, every week. Those guys, good. The OneRing.net, not so good. They're just shills. So the OneRing.com, go check them out. They're cool dudes.
And if you want a great lore site, the Tolkien Gateway.
That too.
Which has an app, by the way. Has an app now.
Yeah, boy. But yeah, they did a lot of changes from over time due to a lot of the flops like the Marvels and She-Hulk and everything. So there is stuff that is going to be coming out that will hopefully course correct. But now for the next thing, yeah, Ubisoft executives get evasive after investors question potential low sales for Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows. This is going to be nuts because Star Wars Outlaws looks atrocious. And I don't know if you particularly, Matt, have watched Star Wars Theory's reaction to like 10, 15 minutes of gameplay.
No, because I am black-pilled on it.
On what?
Star Wars?
Oh, yeah, well. I like Star Wars. I don't like Disney Star Wars.
Well, I'm black-pilled on new Disney Star Wars. I'll still watch the
Well, I mean, Star Wars Eclipse looks good, but it's on hold from what I understand. But if they make Star Wars Eclipse,
7 movies basically.
The first 7?
Rogue One.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah. I give Rogue One a 6 out of 10. Like, there's parts of it I like, and other parts of it just seem stupid. But
I think of Rogue One this way: the first third was kind of okay, the middle third was problematic, and the last third was the best final third of a Star Wars film ever.
Darth Vader, he Vadered. Yeah.
Well, not just that, but Tarkin.
Yeah.
Like, we in the first film, Tarkin had basically the actors what got Tarkin over, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he didn't do anything in the movie other than tell Vader to shut up, right? That was the only threat to him. And now we saw the character, because in the EU, obviously, we back then we knew Tarkin. They depicted him. Plus, in Clone Wars, how ruthless he was and all that sort of stuff. But when that movie came out, like it was Peter Cushing as the actor who got the character over, you know. And then, like now in Rogue One, you see like there's like a million Imperials on the planet, you know what I mean? And he's like, yeah, kill him, just blow the planet up, you know. I mean, like, you know.
And they still failed. That's the ironic part. But
no, it did liquefy the surface of the planet, you know.
Well, needless to say, Star Wars Theory did not seem impressed by the Star Wars Outlaw stuff.
I think they broke Star Wars Theory.
Oh yeah, he's becoming black-pilled. Like Mahler and Ryan Cannell are just like eating away at his faith in anything Disney possible, and he's like, well, but Dave Filoni or who's the other guy? Jon Favreau. Like he's like, well, what about those guys? And they're like, no. And then they named somebody else that I don't know.
They kicked Favreau out. So what happened is, Favreau, when he came in and they wanted to do the Star Wars TV shows, right? He says, okay, Dave and I, because Dave was like his cohort, we want to do these TV shows, start with The Mandalorian, that are totally separate universe. We won't even get near the movie time period, but we're not going to follow the movie timeline. They're going to be a totally separate universe with Rebels and Mandalorian. And what's his face who was running Disney, not Kathleen Kennedy, says, cool, we can make some money on the buy or whatever. We can make some money on Disney Plus with this. We're fine with that. Then Grogu comes out and The Mandalorian is popular, and it makes Kathleen Kennedy and everything she's doing look stupid. So she used her clout to get her hands in there, right? So then she ruins the third season she ruins the Book of Boba Fett, okay? And the third season of Mandalorian, and Iger fucking blows his stack because Disney Plus is going down. So he said to him, you can't touch anything Favreau is actively working on. What happened is he would go to one show to work on it, and she would go to where he left and change everything. Mm-hmm. So that's how she ruined Book of Boba Fett, not Book of the next season of Mandalorian. Then that's how she ruined Ahsoka after he left that. Vine Favreau says, well, my contract is up. I'm out of here, right? And I want to do my own things. And Dave Filoni,
it's the hubris of executive producers or producers in general thinking that they have to have their name on it and it has to be changed to their changes for them to look good. But it actually makes them look worse, which I don't know how that is supposed to help them. But
Dave Filoni, he's a great idea guy to have on your team, but you have to have someone above him to say no.
And they need to say no a lot.
A lot. He comes up with a lot of good ideas. I'd say about 75. I bet
you do realize that basically Ahsoka, what is it? The Acolyte, all that stuff was like he's like cool with. Yeah, like all the stuff that's not good, he's okay with.
Yeah, but then again, he and Lucas co-created Ahsoka in the Clone Wars. Okay,
and when Lucas said, wanted to kill her off, and he's like, "No, I want to keep her around."
No, Lucas didn't want to kill her off.
That's allegedly the rumor, according to Ryan Cannell and Mahler and
they have no focus. They didn't care about anything inside Star Wars until it went bad. Okay,
Ryan Cannell's kind of like a lore master, so I don't know about that, but
there's a lot of bullshit these guys will tell you because right. So Lucas wanted all the Jedi when it happened to die or disappear. Okay. But after he said after the time gap between Sith and Jedi, you could have people coming back who survived. Okay, so Dave originally came up with the idea of, well, if Ahsoka is going to die, she should have a fight with Anakin and it should be poignant and whatever, and that's how he originally kills her in Star Wars Rebels. Okay, where she fought with Anakin and she cut the mask off and she had this thing with Anakin, and then when he decided he could save her, he used a time travel to pull out past the time period. But this is by that time.
Magic stuff, yeah. It's
Well,
fun.
I mean, he that was how they were going to make a separate universe for their TV shows with that alternate time universe thing, right? That Ahsoka time jumping was going to be one of the factors that prevented in their little TV show universe the Disney trilogy from happening, right? But that all being said, that's all Star Wars lore sidetrack. Okay, the point is if you have Favreau or Lucas running the show, Filoni's the guy you want on your team because he gets a lot of good ideas and develops them very well. But sometimes he'll come out with stuff like the Ahsoka TV show, where he takes ideas like the Witches of Dothamar and all that, and no one says, "No, Dave, you're going too far," or stop. You did that. That's good, but that is bad, right? So Favreau would say that and say had control of it. Filoni himself doesn't have that macro level.
But Favreau has bad ideas too, so Favreau needs a little bit of writing as well. Oh, I'm pretty sure they said that was it Jack Black was and The Mandalorian was his idea, as well as
but not the way the story turned out. That was Kathleen Kennedy changing everything.
Well, no, apparently it was his idea to bring them in at all.
Yeah, but they weren't going to be depicted the way they were.
Whether they're not or not, I mean,
he would have been fine as that character if Favreau had the way he wanted it.
Maybe, but we will never know because that's not how it happened.
Well, we won't know until he writes a book in 10 years with like how Kathleen Kennedy fucked up Star Wars.
Right. How Lucasfilm was destroyed by Kathleen Kennedy, like blowing up the Death Star.
Right after she dies or something, the book will come out, and
retires. But then we got Ubisoft. I mean, everybody should be aware of by now of the Assassin's Creed Shadows debacle. Yeah. And Star Wars Outlaws just kind of collapsing because they like, hey, 104. I think it was like $140 to get the whole game plus the expansion stuff added on top. That should have just been part of the game to begin with. But Ubisoft executive CEO, whatever the freaking names are, because I don't even want to begin.
I've heard an actual rumor that the Japanese government, there's a movement to ban the game in Japan.
Assassin's Creed, yeah, they're getting into the politics of it because it's not being said this is a fictional game. They're saying this is historical, and that could bounce back on the government, and the government's like, no, we're not doing that. But either way, they tried to avoid the CFO and the CEO of Ubisoft tried to avoid questions from institutional investors regarding the company's potential sales for its upcoming games, Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows. During the Q1 2024 sales report, Ubisoft noted that it is expected to have net bookings in its second quarter come in around 500 million, I think that's pounds, when it releases Star Wars Outlaws. For comparison, the company's net bookings for the first quarter clocked in at 290 million pounds when it released X Defiant. Barclays' Nick Dempsey questioned the low prediction in the Q&A session during the company's sales call. He asked, quote, "When I look at the guidance for quarter two, and if I assume something similar for back catalog in quarter two as quarter one, kind of getting to 200 million pounds to 230 million pounds, that sort of range. For the new Star Wars Outlaws, when I look at the $70 price, $70 USD, and then assuming that you might get from it, I'm getting to around 5 million units, something in that sort of bracket. First of all, where could I be going wrong with that thinking? Secondly, are you just being pretty conservative in your guidance? Because I guess given the interest in that game, we might have thought it would be more than 5 million units, end quote. But not only would he question the sales figures for Star Wars Outlaws, he also questioned the potential for Assassin's Creed Shadows. When I look at the second half, clearly, quote, when I look at the second half, clearly I think we are going to need a heavy contribution from Assassin's Creed. But could it be that those revenues would in fact be boosted by multiple hundreds of millions in partnership deals, that kind of range to get us over the line, end quote. And the CEO responded to the first question saying, "We can't comment on that very numbers you are quoting, but we have factored in is a strong launch for Star Wars Outlaws." I don't know why you would do that, but okay. That reflects the fact that it is among the most awaited games in the industry this year and a really strong positive community sentiment. No, there's no positive community sentiment. That's not a thing. Now, if you said Star Wars Eclipse, which I don't think is Ubisoft, but maybe it is.
Well, if you mean the 25 blue-haired weirdos in the one community they look to, yeah.
Wrong community, but yeah. Also, the fact that we are coming with the biggest marketing campaign ever. Marketing does not equate to guaranteed profits. That's not how that works. Because if that was how that worked, there'd be no failed systems or no failed games, no failed businesses in general. No industry would ever fail because you just fling money at marketing and you'd win. That's not how that works. Anybody in business know that. I'm not even in business and I know that. And if I know that, then they're just hopelessly idiotic. But the marketing for an Ubisoft game ever. So that's what we've been factoring in the second quarter, end quote. As for the other question, the CEO said, as we mentioned, we expect Shadows to be the most ambitious title of the series. Well, it might have been if he didn't screw it up. But we also anticipate the Star Wars, that is usually a very strong brand around Christmas. It's just a strong brand before Disney, but yes. It should do very well with the busy season with a strong impact also from content from both games. I assume DLC content. It's an audible, so you can't tell what it is. And we also expect further growth from Rainbow Six Siege as well, which if you didn't ruin Rainbow Six series, then yeah, maybe you would. As well as a strong impact of Shadows in the back catalog of Assassin's Creed, plus the contribution from X Defiant. But then Dempsey questioned, when you talk about it being the most ambitious, are you hoping for it to be the best-selling Assassin's Creed game? And they're like, well, we expect Assassin's Creed to be among the high sellers of the company so far. Assassin's Creed's always been a high seller. It's been a really good series up until Origins.
So and this Assassin's Creed game, it will probably still make money, but nowhere near as much as they projected, which is going to look like a loss.
Yeah, it's going to be that, but it's also...
They probably told their board, I'm making up a number just to sound great, to make the point. Yeah. Oh, this game will make $1 billion this year, but it's going to make like $400 million, which is still going to be a profit. But the board is like, wait a minute, where's our $600 million of dividends for all of us? You know?
Yeah, I don't even think that's the problem as much as how much we have to pay out to Japan to not get sued into oblivion.
Well, no, they can't get sued.
I think the government can kind of do whatever they want because it's Japan.
No,
America.
But again, the game Ubisoft. What country are they located?
They have some in Japan. They have some in America. They're not.
Where's the headquarters?
I don't. It depends on the headquarters because I think they have one.
Japan,
they have one headquarters, I think, in California, but I'm pretty sure they have one also possibly in Japan as well.
Other than, again,
and if they can't sue them, they can most certainly block the game from being sold in Japan. Worst comes to worst. But you're also trying to sell a Japanese game not to Japan. That's going to look horrible.
The bulk of their sales are going to come outside. The bulk of their sales are going to come from the U.S. and Europe, no matter what. You know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that it's going to look really bad if the Japanese aren't buying your game because the Japanese want to play Japanese games. Like Ghost of Tsushima, big seller.
Yeah,
pretty much everywhere. But imagine if the Japanese didn't access it. The Japanese actually liked Ghost of Tsushima. No one claimed it was accurately when it came to lore. Nobody made claims on that. But they liked how it portrayed because it portrayed Japan like Japan. This doesn't even portray Japan like Japan. Like down to the architecture, how the inside. There's a whole bunch of stuff that it doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good when a black guy kills Japanese people to hip hop music. That's just kind of silly. But there's no way with this large of a controversy and how bad it's Japanese do not like this game. The ratios is not even in the same ballpark. The dislike is way beyond.
Yeah. So this game's gonna tank in Japan. We all know that.
But because of that effect, everybody else that's on the non-retarded side of the video game industry, they're not going to probably support it as much.
But they would not support. The bulk of us, so to speak, meaning the sane people, would not support.
There's not 5 million people going to support this game. It's just there's not. No. There is no 5 million people for this game. You'd be lucky to get 500,000 people to support this game on that side of the aisle. There might be people who are curious or who just don't care.
There's at least 500,000 woke video gamers out there
that have money. Like $70, dude. They might wait until it goes on sale and eventually. I'm not expecting it to be a big seller. Let's put it that way. It might be a hot item, but I don't think it'll be.
I don't expect it to sell out either. I think it'll make a mild profit on paper, but look like a huge failure because this is a game they probably would have said to the board, "Oh, this will make like a billion gajillion dollars," and it's not going to come anywhere near close to that.
Somebody in the investor group also asked about pre-orders for both Star Wars Outlaws and Assassin's Creed Shadows compared to other previous ones. They're like, we don't disclose nor comment on pre-orders usually. Well, of course you don't. If you had good ones, you would, hands down. But we could say that we've been observing and measuring that our two big titles are actually among the most awaited games of the industry. No, they're not. And enjoy a very strong, positive community sentiment overall.
Yeah, if I was someone on that board, I would actually say, you give me the numbers, or I'm opening a lawsuit and you give me the numbers.
Yeah, we'll take you to Discovery and find out those numbers. Yeah. But different people were positive impact, not positive impact, and they're Ubisoft's just talking themselves up. That's the basic gist of this.
Yeah.
So
I have time for one more article.
That's all we have left.
Good. Oh, good. We're perfect on time.
Yeah, I was trying to move them along, and we got some sidetracked, but we still got around the same time. So
we're good on time.
Yeah, good on time, hard on
time. Time win. Time win.
Get to the job. Yeah. Sorry. Kathleen Kennedy ready to retire, but is waiting for a win, according to Entertainment Analyst.
Okay.
Never getting a win.
They wrote this book a long time ago. It's called Waiting for Godot.
Huh?
Have you ever read the book in high school? They never made you read Waiting for Godot?
No, so I'm schooled.
So it's a book. It's a classic, right? And these two dudes, it's like a play, if I remember correctly, where it's a short play, but it's a classic where they're waiting for Godot to show up. Okay, that's his name, and they're talking about the scenario, like why they're waiting for this person. Are they worried the person's never going to show up? That something's never going to happen? That and it's a good one-time read, right? And if you want to read the theological stuff into just an aside, Godot stands for God of the Old Testament, right? Yeah. So it's a religious, like, people in the Christian era really want the God of the Old Testament.
It's a commentary thing.
Yeah. But the book is the point of the book is you're waiting for something that's never going to happen, and that's what Kathleen Kennedy is doing. Unless the only way she's going to get a successful movie is she sucks it up, lets someone else do the project, and just gives her credit for it. It's the only way they're going to do it.
I mean, yeah. But it says Kathleen Kennedy apparently has something in common with much of the Star Wars fan base. She wants Kathleen Kennedy to leave Lucasfilm.
Yeah,
I do find that funny. But according to Film Threats, Chris Gore, she's only willing to walk out of the door under one condition. And obviously the entertainment analysis person is Chris Gore. But Chris Gore typically has really good information, and I don't think there's a time period when she doesn't have good information, but there are guesstimations, but most of the time when he says something, it's real. She wants to leave on the heels of a massive critical and commercial success. And that's something that Lucasfilm hasn't experienced in quite some time. Well, they've never experienced that because everything has never made them back the money they spent to get Star Wars to begin with. Or Lucasfilm.
Well, that's true. I mean, Wolverine did good, and the Phantom Menace did good, and Mandalorian.
But even if they did good, they've never ever made profit on the entirety of it.
Well, just let me finish. Right after those three came out, it was like going over a freaking cliff.
Yeah, well, it dive bombed. Yeah, it's like when they use those fighters in Last Jedi that just drop bombs and gravity in space. Yeah, that was the Star Wars franchise.
Yeah.
And then obviously Solo completely lost money. There's no doubt about that.
Solo's still losing money.
Yeah, it's always going to be losing money. But since Disney's initial acquisition of Lucasfilm in 2012, the company has been under the direction of film industry veteran Kathleen. I don't know if that's true. Film industry coffee making veteran. That would sound better. Kathleen Kennedy. But then longtime George Lucas and Steven Spielberg associate promised George that she would take care of his life's work, but obviously that didn't happen.
Betrayal.
Yeah, right. But the franchise has gone from the most evergreen IP of all time to a punching bag for YouTubers and streamers. Well, yes, because when you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, and welcome to the stupid prizes.
Yeah.
But Kennedy presided over the deeply unpopular Star Wars sequel trilogy, which saw the deconstruction and eventual death of Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, and the literal death of Leia. While pushing a younger and more diverse cast, because diversity is all the things they ever cared about. They've never cared about anything else. She saw Solo Star Wars story completely fail, and it's the first distinction of being the first ever Star Wars film to lose money at the box office. And then you throw in critical commercial failures on Disney Plus like Acolyte, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan Kenobi, The Book of Boba Fett, and Mandalorian Season 3. that's all underneath her supervision. And it's basically fallen from a powerhouse to a cripple at this point. Like a person, and I'm talking like a cripple that, Bubba, you ain't got no legs. Like, I think it's Forrest Gump level bad. And I'm not saying Forrest Gump's bad. I'm saying,
well, the rumor I heard was the reason Disney didn't sell Lucasfilm off when it was offered for a couple of years ago was because like they paid, I want to say 4.7 billion, but like let's say they paid 4 billion, right? But they could only get like 3 billion for it now.
Probably, yeah. They're going to lose money.
It was worth way less than when they bought it.
But don't you know George is coming back and buying it back from them? Yeah.
Well, funny enough, if the value goes low enough, George probably could.
He could.
His kids want it back though.
Oh well, maybe they could put the money out then. I doubt George Lucas.
There was a rumor that there was family strife that the wife caused him to have to sell it.
Well, I'm not gonna be happy with her if that's the case.
Yeah. So
it's funny because I think
at least
she's the reason I think the first one,
Lucasfilm, was going to be their family legacy. You know what I mean? Like Disney is the Disney family legacy. So I don't know. Maybe if
I was her kids, I'd be pissed at her so freaking bad. You ruined everything for us.
I would never speak to her again. I would say I would rather you go broke and we keep Lucas. I would tell that. Because he's gay.
If they kept Lucas, they wouldn't go broke. That's the best part. It's like, Mom, I'll pay you to not make us go broke. Like, I'll just pay you. We'll bring in the dough. We'll give you money. But she's probably, I don't know if she's a greedy person. I don't know if she cares.
The word was it was a very bitter divorce. So
I'm not disputing. I mean, most divorces are bitter. They're divorces.
Yeah.
They're not exactly good things. But if she was like not bitter, like I don't know why she's bitter or whatever, like that's between her and George.
I don't know the details. All I heard was
I don't care.
She wanted to make him suffer.
She wants her children to suffer. She wants all of the fandoms to hate her. Like that seems like I know. I'm just saying that seems like a really bad reason to ruin everything. But be as it may,
people do it all the time.
Yes, and those are the ones who need to be drawn and quartered in Minecraft. But with every failed project announced,
if George gets it back for like half price and now owns it completely himself, so he made the massive profit from being forced to sell it.
Well, but also she's trying to make him miserable, but in the end, he actually benefits from it. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
But oh man, they'd have to go in the EU so freaking hard to recover that, and I don't know if they could. I know he doesn't want to do it. Like nothing about him says that he's interested in that.
Well, he's
if
old.
If the kids brought it back and the kids wanted to honor the tradition of Star Wars, they could make so much money if they did that. But I don't see that happening.
He's like 78 years old now. So,
but even if the value dropped, Disney's not selling Lucasfilms. That's just not happening.
Well, they might do.
I doubt it. But if they did, that'd be nice. I doubt it. Some people were like, "Oh, well, Elon Musk will buy it." I'm like, "No, he's not. He's not going to do that. No way."
Well, Elon Musk is pissed enough at Disney he considered buying them.
Disney or Lucasfilm?
The whole of Disney.
I don't see that as a valuable asset.
Because he felt Disney sabotaged his Twitter acquisition.
Yeah, they tried to. Yeah.
No, they did.
Well, I mean, like he still got the acquisition. They
tried.
They tried to
the advertising boycott that he's suing over.
Oh yeah.
He feels that Disney was behind that.
Probably. Yeah, I imagine.
And he was like, I should just go buy Disney and fire all their asses. Well, someone said that was rumored, and he decided not to do it because he doesn't want to run the company like that.
Well, there's that, but also I don't think he just wants to throw away his assets like that either.
It wouldn't be thrown away. He's a genius. He could take Disney and make a profit, but he doesn't want to run an entertainment company.
Well, there's that. Well, I mean, he personally doesn't have to run one. He just needs to find somebody who can run it for him.
That's what I'm saying. He doesn't want to have an entertainment company. That's why he didn't do it ultimately.
Well, whoever's in charge of Lucasfilm needs to have access to a lore master for Star Wars and a lore master for any Indiana Jones or whatever it is you want to do. Like whatever Lucasfilms does, you need to have a lore master for that project, in charge of that project, and leave it at that, and then you're good. Yeah. But with every failed project and announcement that never ultimately sees the light of day, fans around the world ask a series of unifying questions. When will Kathleen Kennedy leave Star Wars? When will Disney fire Kathleen Kennedy? How does Kathleen Kennedy still have a job? The world may never know. But like this is stuff we've been asking for a long time. And obviously the ongoing joke about online is that, Kathleen Kennedy's going to be fired any day now, guys. It's not. She'll leave when she's happy.
I'll give her credit. Like I said, she between her stock, like 3% or 5% of whatever she had with Disney, plus her political clout and all that, she fought off the attempts at her job.
Well, we've been here, quote unquote, from Chris Gore. We've been hearing lately that Kathleen Kennedy is not very hands-on with Star Wars at this point, or at least, Chris Gore. Are you hearing anything similar that she might be operating in title only, at least for now? And then, I guess somebody said to Chris Gore, and Gore's like, well, she wants to retire and leave, but she wants to do it on a win. Well, if she keeps making stupid decisions, it's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. But then he went on to say that in order to leave, she wants a huge success that she can ride into retirement. And this could be a smash hit television show or a major box office victory with a theatrical release. In other words, she wants to go out on a high note like George Costanza on Seinfeld. She hasn't had a win, but she wants one. It's like, okay, well, she's 71 years old.
Nothing good that's come out of Star Wars has been generated by her as the source. Yeah. Even Rogue One started over 15 years before it came out under Lucas. It just took a long time to gesticulate.
Plus all the deals and everything going on with Lucasfilm. But yeah, it's just everything's collapsing and failing. And at this point, I'd just be like, I'll take my money and retire because this isn't working. But needless to say.
But she's not in it for the money. She's in it for the props. So
I don't know what props she's going to be getting. But needless to say, it's going to be a hot minute until anything happens in a good way. But if she leaves, I'm terrified they're going to put somebody worse in. Because they're not capable of putting good people in positions of power. It's just not a thing that they're capable of doing.
Well, the interesting rumor I heard about 3 or 4 years ago is that, and now I only mention this because Fahey seems like he's fixing Marvel, is that Fahey wants her job.
Feige? Kevin
Feige, yeah.
He wants Lucasfilm's job?
Yeah.
He wants out of Marvel or he wants both?
I don't know if he wants both, but there was I heard 4 different rumors, not just Doomcock's version of it, but I heard 4 different rumors that Fahey was looking at her spot when, because they thought she was going to be pushed out with the stuff going on, but that she fought back against, and he was looking to going for that job.
That would be pretty brutal.
Well, it depends. If he really does fix Marvel, then yeah, give it to him.
I would say if he signs a contract saying he's only going to follow source material and nothing else, then yes, give him access. But I'd be putting so many contractual obligations involved in that and be like, you can have it, but you're going to be penned in so hard. And if you like, because they can still use Lucasfilms for other things other than Star Wars and Indiana Jones, technically. So if you want to do something unique or individual or new, then sure, go ahead, do whatever you want because it's new, it's unique or whatever. But if you're going to do something that's established or pre-established or coming back into the fold,
yeah,
you got to do it. And it's the dumbest, most obvious outcome and answer you'd expect. Just do it like the story tells you to do it and leave it alone. It's that simple.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed the content,
back into the darkness now.
Can't wait. But if you like the content that we're giving you, if you could give us a like, that'd be great. If you could comment, that's great. Both of those are great for the algorithm.
If you can get Kathleen Kennedy fired, that's great too.
Yeah, throw that in the deal. Everybody's gonna have a good day. Like nobody's gonna have a bad day if that happens, except maybe Kathleen Kennedy. And actually, no, because she wants out as well. So it's a win for everybody. Hey, we solved world poverty, right?
Probably has like a $500 million golden parachute.
Probably. But then, if you guys could share everything, whether it's this video or another video or live stream or whatever, that would help us out a lot in the algorithm.
See, we can do videos where we don't get lost in subtopics for 3 hours.
When we go through 8 subtopics, yes. That's the best part. Yeah, we could have picked like 1 or 2 of these and easily made small videos, but it's more fun to just dump it all in one.
We didn't turn into our 7-hour video where we talk about the topic for an hour and then disappear into like the minutiae of more interesting topics for like 6 hours.
That's because I actually care about the interesting topics.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff, like I want to like the topics we talk about, but unfortunately, Hollywood and gaming industry as a whole has just made me not care. I just don't care about what they make beyond the fact that I want to point out that they're making massive mistakes.
Yeah.
And here's how you could fix it. Like literally any of these industries, any of these companies, hire me. I will come in there. I will fix everything and I will make you a profit. And I don't have to have a lick of experience in any of those fields. And I can guarantee you a profit because I know how to fix. I know what your problem is. It's pretty obvious. Anybody knows your problem at this point, except for those who are the bootlickers. But needless to say, yeah, I actually do enjoy 7-hour conversations with you and Sage and everybody.
Yeah.
I wish they were about happier things. Like when we get some good news, I would be happy.
News.
Yeah, happy news. But yeah, so well, thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks Matt for sticking around. I know you got places to be, people to beat up, and problems to cause. But
yeah, it's Roman's birthday stream tonight.
Well, it won't be when this video comes out, but yeah. Yeah. So check out is it Roman Reigns or who?
Roman of the Empire.
Roman of the Empire. I'm saying
Another
Roman
fellow
Reigns.
Italian.
Yeah. Hey, say hi from another fellow Italian. But yeah, check out say his name again.
Roman of the Empire.
Roman of the Empire. Check out Roman of the Empire's channel. I don't personally know him, but yeah, go check him out anyway. He's good people, apparently. Yeah. Matt hangs out with him. He's got to be good people. Yeah. So, but yeah, thanks, Matt, for hanging out. And everybody else, thanks for hanging out with us. I know that's a lot of work. Yeah, it's a lot of work and a lot of stuff for us. But I do appreciate every single one of you for hanging out. So remember, my friends, walk in the light.